Very good afternoon and welcome back to the NZBLBA Bowling Club in Auckland's North Shore for the penultimate day of finals of these Summerset National Singles and Pairs. I'm Brenton Vinisroy, alongside me is Kevin Hicklin. We are now bringing you the final of the blind B3, B4 singles final, and it is Kieran Wheeler of the Claudelands Club up against Steve Delaney, the defending champion of Stoke. Kieran Wheeler earlier beat James Dunn of Paeroa 21-10, and Steve Delaney accounted for Don Stevens of Riccarton 21-14. As we have still continued beautiful weather across the Auckland region, we hope it continues tomorrow as we are straight into it here. Kevin Hicklin.
Yes, good afternoon, Brenton here from the NZBLBA Bowling Club here on the North Shore of Auckland. Perfect conditions, and Steve Delaney of Stoke up against Kieran Wheeler of Claudelands, and very active bowler is Steve Delaney. Kieran Wheeler of course plays out of the Claudelands Club, and I'm sure as we look at this first head that we're going to see good game between these. We certainly saw it in the disabled semi-final this morning. We certainly saw a real tight encounter with Linda Bennett defeating Kevin Aspin by 21 shots to 18.
And you can see the previous shot to the right of screen, you do have Linda Bennett and Bruce Wakefield playing the final of the disabled singles. We will keep you up to date with that scoreline, and if we do finish early here, we will bring you the finishing stages of the disabled final, but don't worry, we'll keep you up to date with the happenings on the rink alongside.
Now, I know there's a big following today for Steve Delaney from the Stoke Club in Nelson. I had a note from Jimmy Pugh earlier on, and I know that the Stoke Club are certainly watching and supporting their player today, and that looked like a 3 for Delaney to open his account.
Yeah, very good start. Both players, of course, have their director. So not completely blind are Delaney and Wheeler in the B3, B4 category, but vision impaired. So they have their directors to help assist them.
Very interested with Steve Delaney, who has got a condition of the eyes which has caused this blindness where he's at, and he had a few, when he was diagnosed, had a few mental health issues which one can understand, and he was one of 7 New Zealanders that took part in the 7-day challenge, and they traversed 700 kilometres across New Zealand, and he found that as a great just a great recipe for his whole life state, and now he's into his bowls. In fact, he's been playing at Stoke for a number of years now, a few years, but certainly very active and loves his bowlers. As we watch now, Delaney playing on this 3/4 length head on his forehand in this race to 21, up against Kieran Wheeler of the Claudelands Club in the Waikato. And just as he delivers this bowl, I can tell you as well, there's been a couple of more casualties in the men's singles in the post-section play. Brian Wilson of the North Harbour has defeated Seamus Curtin by 21-19, and more than likely the real big upset, current world champion Shannon McElroy is defeated by John O'Shea of the Bay of Plenty by 21 shots to 12. So Seamus Curtin, Shannon McElroy, they will now join Mike Kernahan in 3 of the leading players who have exited the post-section play of the Summerset men's singles.
Yeah, just confirming, it was in fact a 4 picked up by Steve Delaney on that first end, so the defending champ making a bright start and continuing it here with another
right in front of the
fantastic bowl against Kieran Wheeler, who will try and find a response to this early onslaught from Delaney. And looks like starting maybe a touch on the wide side there is Wheeler. Good weight.
Certainly was good weight, and Steve Delaney's very quickly found his way and weight in line on this green here at Sunnybray.
You can see the line that goes
very definitive
right up the
line,
green
isn't it,
to help
centre line.
Yeah, to help the players in this contest.
So here's the third bowl of Steve Delaney, as Brendan said, scoring a maximum of 4 on the very first end, and pretty good weight with that of his third bowl as well. Just went by on the head by about a metre. Certainly 2 very good opening bowls.
Yeah, it's a first miss, you'd say, for Steve Delaney. He's got off to a very good start.
So Kieran Wheeler, he's stalking this bowl, but how's the line? In fact, it is going to just duck under the line with weight and green. So now I'm sure we'll see Steve Delaney may well change his hand to the backhand side, and just so he doesn't get caught up on the front bowl of Kieran Wheeler. Very deliberate on the mat is Steve Delaney. Got the perfect stance and delivery, and
it's got a beautiful delivery, doesn't it?
Superb delivery, and you know, it's great coming out of the Stoke Club. Well, you and I, Brenton, know the pedigree of what the Stoke Bowling Club. You know, I know
a few decent players and deliveries to learn from there.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
And again, right back to the centre line.
That could be another one.
That could count that bowl of Steve Delaney's.
Yeah. Obviously got a very good relationship with their directors. I saw Steve embracing with his. A bit of a, good luck hug.
So it's just going to get past this bowl of Kieran.
Oh, look at that
look
bowl.
At this superb bowl.
What a response from Kieran Wheeler, and applauded by Steve Delaney as well. Knew it took something pretty special to deny him shot there. So Kieran Wheeler showing his quality, bouncing straight back. So after dropping a 4 on the first, he grabs the shot with his last on the second. And it's Steve Delaney leading Kieran Wheeler 4-1. As we have the lollipops in play as well, which is great to see. Chief umpire looking after this final.
Both of these players, in fact, got very good, very, very good deliveries. And Steve Delaney's got that real upright and just swing of the arm, and certainly just delivers it smoothly, and pretty tall as Steve Delaney. And I do know that he actually loves his bowls and is passionate about it. And as you and I as well know, Benton, you're in a very good environment at the Stoke Club in Nelson. They're certainly a very friendly club, and I know that Steve is certainly very, very well regarded within the membership there. I saw a note this morning, in fact, from Kirsten Edwards and Amy McElroy, wishing him all the best for today, which is very nice to see.
Obviously a popular member there down in Nelson at Stoke Club. The scoreboard is reading is alongside us there, 1 apiece between Linda Bennett and Bruce Wakefield in the disabled singles final, which is being played alongside this one.
And it's interesting, marking in that final is what I would call the icon of of Phil out there, who's done an amazing job. And he was just telling me that they got sponsorship, telling me at lunchtime, and they've got 3 teams, in fact, embarking in the national fours down in Alexandra later this year.
Fantastic.
They got some sponsorship, which he was responsible for getting, and they've put together 3 teams, and they'll be lining up at Queenstown. Well, Alexandra, sorry. Good opening bowl here is from Kieran Wheeler after that very good bowl. But
look at this response.
Look at this response from Steve Delaney.
It's been a very high quality start. Kieran Wheeler missed his spot with his first 4 bowls on the opening end, but since then, this has been very, very good. You certainly wouldn't think these 2 players are vision impaired, the way they're playing. Their directors haven't had to do too much.
No, they have not. And this bowl just going to fall short on weight, but is going to come back to the centre line. It was perfectly greened, that second bowl of Kieran Wheeler's.
I know it's a bit of a training drill, some of the top players put blindfolds on to just get the feel.
Correct.
And it shows how much is feel here, and these players have got it. There's no doubt about it.
And you know, a number of your able-bodied players you wouldn't see 3 bowls as consistently close to the jack as we watch this next bowler, Steve Delaney, which again was on a perfect line to the jack, just missed that weight line, but certainly they got no problem getting their line right, and that's been very evident of what we've seen so far.
Yeah, if you have just joined the coverage with Kieran Wheeler and Steve Delaney in the B3, B4 singles final for the vision impaired, those who are completely blind in the B1, B2 category, and their singles final is yet to get underway. We're completing their semi-finals moments ago. So very much a different look to both of them. The directors play a far bigger role, obviously,
Absolutely,
as you can imagine, with those who are fully blind.
Steve Delaney will try and draw through his short bolt in front of the head, and in fact he's coming around it trying to get back to the centre line. I don't know if he'll hold up the good enough weight to get to there, but going in behind the head, he won't mind that. Holding one shot, leading 4-1 is Steve Delaney over Kieran Wheeler.
And pretty much to the tee, he's found it. So if there is some jack movement, that's a pretty handy home.
And I'm sure Kieran Wheeler, with this his last bolt.
Well, he managed to trail the jack last time with his final bolt.
Well, if he can turn over one of those front bowls, but it looks as though it's going to be on the wide side, if he turn one of those front bowls and may well have got a couple of rolls in for shot. Steve Delaney again now will endeavour to try and come past his short bowl, gets past that by a metre, and he'd be close to the scoring zone.
Yeah, continuing again on the backhand side, Delaney certainly looks like he's going to get around that short bowl, but maybe gave it too much green. Looks like pretty decent weight again, though, by the Stoke player. In the end, it does make its way back to the centre line, but yeah, just gave it too much green. And so it looks like it'll be one more to Delaney. And a quick look at the head, quickly agreed. And it looks like it is again Steve Delaney back with the mat, and it is 1 to Steve Delaney, so 5-1. Steve Delaney out of the Stoke club leading Kieran Wheeler and a Claudelands Waikato in this blind B3, B4 category singles final. The club cat coming to say hello to Steve Delaney's director.
Having a chat down there.
Yeah, I think there's a dog at the club. A cat still hanging around, which is good to see. This is cat very much thinks it's his domain. So, as I mentioned earlier, also on the rink alongside, we have the disabled singles final between Linda Bennett, who we saw in our earlier game we're bringing to you, the Te Awamutu Club, also in the Waikato, up against Bruce Wakefield of Burnside and Christchurch. And early on in that final, it is Linda Bennett leading 3-2. 3-2 in the race to 21. Steve Delaney, who jumped out of the blocks here. You can see the scoreboard of that match is Bruce Wakefield, one of the icons of parabols in this country.
Certainly has. He's won medals at Olympics, and he's been, he's certainly been a driving force without any shadow of doubt.
He was talking to me in the break between matches earlier, just saying how hard he's finding the heat. and also saying it's only the second time he's ever played on the Starweed green, and he's finding it quite tricky. He said it's fast, it's like just almost falling out of his hand, and he's been struggling with the weight here.
I can tell you that he played in a team in the Nationals many years ago in Dunedin in section play, and his team had a W next to their name, and the team I was playing in had an L next to their name, and playing in the Nationals. And also he has won New Zealand forklift driving championships in his.
Is that a thing?
Absolutely.
I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah, he delivers, drives at night for the newspapers, and delivers around the dairies of Wellington, delivers the Dominion, Taranaki Daily News, the Manawatu papers, and night drives a truck around Wellington, delivering newspapers about 3 nights a week.
On Christchurch? Or?
In Wellington.
Who, sorry?
The marker I was talking about.
Oh, the marker.
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about Bruce Wakefield still.
No. No.
I was like, you can do everything. He's even managed to do it in Wellington as well.
Yeah.
Peter Horn, you're talking
Peter
about.
Horn, yeah, he's done an amazing job for the disabled, the para organisation. As we see now, Kieran Wheeler is going to slip away under the head, as he did with his first, the bowl, of Steve Delaney's. It would be Wheeler, I'd say, holding shot on the backhand side, 1.5 metre low. On the backhand is the Claudelands player. Looks on a pretty good line.
Yeah, it looks very, very good line. That will be shot.
Sure, it's going to be shot. Sits just alongside the jack.
Oh, it's twice playing this way. He's come up with some big, big bowls. Last time playing this way, he managed to trail the jack and grabbed a shot back. Got himself on the board, Kieran Wheeler. Steve Delaney playing his last.
Well, this is a bold attempt too. How's the weight?
Yeah, I think the weight's the only thing that's let him down. Looked on a great track, didn't it?
Great line again.
Yeah, just needed another 1.5 metres or so, and that certainly would have challenged for shot. Bit of an opening here, Kieran Wheeler. Chance to try and emulate his previous bowl. This has the same feel as the last. Get round to short front one, but I think he might be coming right into that. It's going to work out very well. It could be 3 now. Certainly promoted 1 and made it 2. Has it made it 3? You'd think you'd favour all 3 of those blue bowls over the light blue. 2 taken away by Steve Delaney.
3.
And 3.
Certainly is.
Well done, Kieran Wheeler. So that worked out very well, as he got a big enough touch to promote his short bowl further into the head. His bowl also rolled a couple more rotations. And so now 5-4. This one shot in it. Kieran Wheeler picking up a 3. 5-4. Steve Delaney leading Kieran Wheeler in this race to 21. Blind B3, B4 category. Singles final. Great weather, barely a breath of wind coming across the green here at the Sunny Bray Club. If you're just watching the coverage for the first time today, you'll realise quite a change of setting from what we had the first 2 days of finals of these Summerset Nationals. We were at the Carlton Cornwall Club in Epsom, and now here Sunny Bray, Glenfield on Auckland's North Shore, across the Harbour Bridge. Credit to Tamara and Erin. They've managed to pack up all the gear over Carlton Cornwall, bring it across the bridge, and set up a new studio for myself and Kevin.
Good opening bowl from Kieran Wheeler, just in behind the jack. Yeah, Tamara and Aaron done an amazing job to transport everything over the bridge and have it all set up. And of course, again, having to move it all tonight, again, back to Carlton, Cornwall, for us to be live at 8:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. So Tamara and Aaron doing a wonderful job, and so that we can bring this coverage through Sky Sport Next.
I see just walking by a couple of the B1, B2 category blind bowlers. Those are pretty much fully blind with their director.
So that bowler, Kieran Wheeler's first wayward bowl that I think we've seen, just skipped away under the head.
He settled into it quite nicely, Kieran Wheeler, after dropping a 4 on the first end, where Steve Delaney started with a bang.
And it's Wheeler holding the shot as we watch this bowler. Steve Delaney's just break towards the head, finishes jack level.
I suppose now that hopes of the Stoke club resting on Steve Delaney following Shannon McElroy's surprise departure. And what, the second round? Post-section play in the men's singles. The world champion, of course.
Well, you know, again, this is the great thing about national championships, Brendan, isn't it? You know, these guys, you know, John O'Shea, obviously an accomplished bowler in the Tauranga area, and Brian Wilson from over here at North Harbour. They have well, firstly to qualify, then they have the opportunity to play the best, and it's one of the great things about the nationals and bowls is that on the day it can be anybody. So here's this bowler, Steve Delaney. This is breaking alongside the jack. This is falls in. It will be shot, I would say.
Yeah.
Asking who's got the shot.
What other sport can you be just a weekly player, weekend warrior, and play national champion or world champion?
Absolutely.
In a competition, and you don't have to pay for the honour.
No, but just a note of caution to the CEO of Bowls New Zealand for the National Fours coming up. They're certainly going to have to be on their mettle, because I see that their skip, Gary Banks, has won both of his games this morning in section play and post-section play of the singles. So he'll be one of his teammates, which comprises of another board member of Bowls New Zealand and the chairman of Bowls New Zealand, as we see Kieran Wheeler rest on top of that. Was the third shot bowl that would more than likely make shot of it, I would say, or close to it. Steve Delaney asking who's got shot.
Might be a measure, maybe. Oh. Which one did he point to?
I'm not sure which bowl that was actually being pointed to there, actually.
Yeah, it's a bit harsh for the umpire, for the vision impaired players, just to point at something as well. Makes it slightly difficult. I assume maybe he had said something as well. Of course, we didn't have the audio there, but
I think we'll assume that he.
I'd hope so. Yeah, because just a finger point's not going to help too much.
And the bowl of Stephen Delaney is just going to sit out on that wide side, and we'll see when they get up to the head. But
yeah, that doesn't change the situation.
Certainly got a very good bowler, Kieran Wheeler's. What was his last bowl? And
two directors come in to help out, but Steve Delaney's pretty happy to look over it as well.
So
it might be a measure.
So there's now a debate of who's actually going to do the measure. So no one's really sure as well on that basis who's got the shot.
I think Steve Delaney just wanted another look before doing the measure. But it's up to Kieran Wheeler's director to help out. Steve Delaney helping out by keeping the jack in place. Maybe
umpire
for an umpire here. And the umpire is the marker on this rink, which is pretty handy.
Well,
you don't have to put your hand up. You can just say, the gentleman next to you, can you help please?
This is more like the easiest way, because it's been, looking at the head, has been 5 attempts to see who's actually got the shot. So this is more than likely the best and quickest way of arriving at an outcome.
So there's chief umpire here, Sonny Bray, for this finals day of both the disabled and blind singles and pairs disciplines.
There was 5 bowls there, Brendan, within a metre of the jack on that head. It certainly says something, and yes, it was.
Gone with Kieran Wheeler, so we're all tied up. 5 apiece now. Good comeback by the man from Waikato, Kieran Wheeler. 5 apiece now after he dropped a 4 on the opening end. And one stage it looked like, at that stage I thought, well, this could be all Steve Delaney.
Certainly.
This could be over in super quick time. But Kieran Wheeler has shown his quality. And we're all tied up now at 5-all. See if I catch the scoreboard and the other final, which is ongoing on the rink alongside it, that being the disabled singles final. And that's all tied up as well, 6 apiece. Linda Bennett out of Te Awamutu up against Bruce Wakefield of Burnside. So that following a pretty similar script to what we saw earlier today, when Linda Bennett came back from 18-13 down to win against Kevin Asplin, but it was a very close contest until the latter stages when Asplin pulled clear, and it was Bruce Wakefield who won 21-14 against Steve Walker of the Awamoa Club in North Otago. Kevin Hicklin's making his way through a few results. I think of the women's pairs post section. We'll bring that to you shortly as well, taking place at the Browns Bay Bowling Club.
Well, I can tell you this, that the name Hill is continuing in the women's pairs.
Kirsty Hill
just defeated Debbie White and Ashley Jeffcoat by 23 shots to 4.
Whoa, that's a convincing win.
I can tell you that Val Smith and Lisa Prideaux, the champions of 2019, have defeated Wendy Jensen.
And Rachel Davies.
Yes, and Karen Hemer from Auckland here has defeated Leanne Paulson by 29-10. So Karen Hemer of the Carlton Cornwall Club with Jackie Broderson.
Karen Hemer, of course, who was through to the quarterfinals of the singles.
Taylor Bruce has defeated Christine Buchanan and Mandy Boyd, the Boyd sisters, and we'll have Boyd and Bruce up against one another again in their women's pairs. In fact, so Mandy and Angela Boyd.
Taylor Bruce must be wondering what she'd done to be on the same side of the draw as Mandy Boyd in both the singles and the pairs. So that will be a quarter final, will it, or round of 16 match?
Well, I'm looking at that. Theirs is a...
I would say it would be a quarter final.
Yeah. Robin Walker of Takapuna, who is Brett O'Reilly's wife, had a win over Reen Stratford, defeated Reen Stratford 19-15.
Oh, the runners-up from a couple of years, Stratford and Ralph, they're gone.
And she will now play Dale Rayner and Selena Smith, of course, clubmate as well of Robin Walker. So it looks, in the quarterfinals, it looks like we have got, in the women's pairs, we've got... We've still got one game to come out yet. The Kirsty Hill is playing Celia McIntyre, and Sue Curran is playing Esther Yu. But through into the quarterfinals is Val Smith and Lisa Prideaux, Karen Hemer and Jackie Broderson, Taylor Bruce and Claire Hendra, Mandy and Angela Boyd, Karen Hemer and Dale Rayner and Selena Smith, and Robin Walker, and I'm not sure who is leading for Robin Walker, but they are through to the quarterfinal rounds.
Thank you very much, Kevin, giving us that update of the action from not too far from here, Browns Bay, also on Auckland's North Shore, where all the women's post section and the pairs are taking place today. Of course, the semi-finals and the final will both be played at Carlton Cornwall, so those quarterfinals will take place today. And check the Bowls New Zealand website for full results, and there'll also be a report on the day's action.
Great head here of this game between Kieran Wheeler and Steve Delaney. B3, B4 singles locked up at five apiece, and we've got 4 bowls sitting, 2 from each, sitting under half a metre away from the jack, as we see Steve Delaney.
Well, is holding a couple of shots, says the market, so opportunity to make this 3 and reclaim the lead. This doesn't look too far away. He might run into his own bowls, which are the shot bowls.
Or he might get the jack. Doesn't want to move the... That was okay.
Moving it just that much is all right, but it might still only make it 2, depending on if he's maybe moved it that slight bit towards one of Kieran Wheeler's bowl. You think it's certainly a couple, but is it still 3?
So we'll see in but a moment.
He's back in charge of the jack is Steve Delaney. And this visually impaired B3, B4 singles final. And it was 3 as the lollipops there go up. So, good end again for Steve Delaney. Only the third end he's won. It's 3 apiece, isn't it, in ends? But he's picked up 2 big numbers, a 4 and now a 3, and leads by 3, 8-5 over Kieran Wheeler.
And race to 21, of course, so ends don't count. Perfect conditions, and the green here at Sunnybray certainly appears to be running really well. You can see it's got a good draw on both hands. If you take your green, you're certainly going to come back to the centre line. And we saw in the game earlier on this morning, when they didn't take their green, Brendan, we certainly saw the bowls disappear reasonably quickly under the centre line, didn't we? But so far in this Kieran Wheeler, Steve Delaney, full credit to both players, because they've been certainly getting their bowls back to the centre line. It's a pretty good opener from Steve Delaney, coming down towards the centre line now. It's going to pull up short, we'll say half a metre, but literally right on that centre line.
Steve Delaney, who was runner-up in the pairs earlier today, B3, B4 category, losing to James Dunn of Pyador, who lost to Kieran Wheeler in the semi-finals to James Dunn. Delaney beating Don Stevens of Riccarton and Christchurch.
Good opening bowl here from Kieran Wheeler as it just sneaks towards the jack, finishes slightly jack low, but sits right out in front of the jack. Good opening bowl. In fact, we may now see Steve Delaney change his hand so he doesn't get tied up on the...
Yeah, you can see Linda Bruce has picked up another single in the disabled singles final, so 7-6. Linda Bennett leading Bruce Wakefield, make that another 8-6 now. Thank you, Bruce. Right on cue. So Linda Bennett in the disabled singles final here at Sunnybray, just on the rink alongside us in this B3, B4 blind singles final.
So we saw the bowler Steve Delaney as we changed his hand and he went by at that second bowl, but another good looking delivered bowl here from Kieran Wheeler. Just doesn't have the weight though to get down in front of what is the second shot of Steve Delaney's bowl. Because no time limit in this race to 21. The ends don't count.
Yeah, Steve Delaney certainly started like he was racing to 21, picking up that maximum of 4 on the first end. He just picked up a 3 as well, so he played a good pace this contest.
So he doesn't like that one. What he could see when I thought he was actually playing with weight, because you could certainly when Steve Delaney delivered the bowl that his arm was right inside, as though he was sort of reaching through on the forehand. So I think it was a bit of a
That's right. If you do undergreen it, often just goes straight under and rolls out the other end of it's outside the pegs, isn't it? Just like that was.
If he was playing with weight, it would more than likely hold up for a longer period of time. But on the draw weight, it's just going to disappear on you very, very quickly.
Yeah, it seems a pretty fine margin as well. As that time, Kieran Wheeler was just too wide, asked too much of it.
And of course, this green here, with being a combination green with starweed in it as well, you'll pay the price. And Steve Delaney going back to his favoured hand. It's the one down at present, needs to get all the way up to the head, but it's not going to. If you don't take your green on a starweed mixed surface, your bowl will disappear very quickly on the under greening. So Kieran Wheeler holding the shot. Remembering he was down 4-0 after end 1.
5-1 after 3. He's bounced back. He managed to level the scores a few ends later. And you think that's one to Kieran Wheeler. Just having a quick look at the situation. As the directors make their way down, they both agree.
Everybody agrees.
So Kieran Wheeler now 2 behind Steve Delaney. It's 8-6. Steve Delaney of the Stoke Club and Nelson leading Kieran Wheeler of Claudelands and the Waikato. This is the blind or vision impaired B3, B4 singles final. So as you can probably see, players who aren't completely blind but very much vision impaired. That's why they have the directors with them, the assistants, to help out when needed.
Of course, tomorrow morning we'll be back on Sky Sport Next 8:30 a.m. where we'll have live action right throughout the day. Men's quarter-final singles at 8:30, then the women's pairs final around about 11:30, and then at around 2:30 p.m. we'll have the final event of the Summerset Nationals with, of course, the blue ribbon, the men's singles, which will be all played at Carlton Cornwall. Free admittance if you're in the Auckland area.
We just hope the weather continues like this, because I know there was a bit of rain in the forecast for tomorrow morning. Let's hope that does change, it stays away.
So if you're in the Auckland area and you want to see some of the best in the country in action of all ages, get down to the Carlton Cornwall Club, right in behind Alexandra Park, and you can watch, as I say, free admittance. You can watch the live action throughout the day. Very deliberate delivery from Steve Delaney in that backhand. He certainly stays down on his bowl, which means he's had some good coaching. Just going to go by on that forehand side.
Playing all the way to the tee, so you can see he had to put a lot of weight on that to get it down there. In the end, it was overweighted. I think it's gone into the ditch. Looks like the umpire's gone and collected that one.
Kieran Wheeler, the old foot stamp, has the weight on this one. That's what he's sort of saying. Looks pretty good, especially if he runs into what is his own front bowl.
Yeah, that's going to be handy. And track just past the jack. So he probably did need the weight of, did need that bowl to slow it down, didn't it? Otherwise that could have been ditch bound too.
So Steve Delaney playing his second. Also on the backhand. Don't know about the weight of that. Left his hand. We'll see in a moment. Just looks as though it's just going to pull up here short. Great comeback from Kieran Wheeler, especially after the way on that first end. Steve Delaney just went bang, 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 4 shots.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't shaken by that. Went straight back to work, played an absolute bomb on the second end
Certainly did.
Draw the shot. Trailed the jack.
And he's got another good bowl here, Brita. This gets round his own bowl. It's going to sit underneath it. No, I don't think that'll count. Definitely 2.
Steve Delaney will want to get one in the area to make Kieran Wheeler play a good final bowl.
You'd rather draw it with your third run rather than having to draw it with your fourth one.
Yeah, certainly.
And just coming past his own bowl, sits jack level.
That should be shot.
Full, that looks as though it would be shot, Brent, on that straight line to the jack.
Not much between them though.
So persistent on his backhand is Kieran Wheeler from the Claudelands Club. Down by the river in Hamilton City. Needs to reach the Steve Delaney bowl to get inside it too. Again, we'll just wait to see when they're asking now who's got the shot.
Steve Delaney asking, and he's gone to the Delaney bowl from his last effort. So chance to add another here, Delaney, to go back up by 4, like he was at the start of this contest after the opening end. Just has to try and get to his lasts, or better it, of course. And I think this is going to change the situation here, or is it?
Yes, it will.
Yes, it will. Certainly. Well, that is the shot. Wonderful. I thought he had too much green there, but well played, Steve Delaney. So 2 more. Looks like we'll go on the borders. Although,
just having a check on.
So that one's taken away, and now, so the umpire, who is the marker on this rink, did favour the light blue bowl, the baby blue bowl, out to the right hand of the pitcher, over the darker blue bowl of Kieran Wheeler.
Here comes the measure.
So Kieran Wheeler's director helping out here.
These directors do a wonderful job, don't they? You know, they're not playing, they're there with their player and helping them all the way. It's fantastic that they've got people around who will do that. And look, there's only one.
One Steve, is it? One Steve, yes. Yep.
Yeah, it certainly looked like it was short of that.
It did on the
other
measure,
Delaney
didn't it?
bowl, yeah. So you think it's only going to be 1 added to the score of Steve Delaney, not that 2 as we thought it may have been. And confirmation, 9-6. 9-6 it is. See on the scoreboard just to the right of screen, we have a similar score. It's 9-8. Bruce Wakefield of Burnside now leading Linda Bennett of Te Awamutu. That in the disabled singles final, which is on rink number 6, right next to where our broadcast rink is, rink 7 here at the Sunny Bray Bowling Club in Glenfield on Auckland's North Shore.
There would have been now not a great number. I'm just sitting over here on the North Shore, Brendan, because I wasn't aware of it. I got here late this morning. In fact, it's a 3-green club here, because you've got a carpet green around the corner as well, so 2 natural surface greens and a carpet green, so it's an all year round usable club, which is great.
Steve Delaney on the backhand. That smooth delivery of his.
Looks on a good line, Brendan. How's that weight now as it breaks towards the centre line? That's a good opening bowl.
It certainly is, just in behind the head. So good start for Delaney. On this, the 9th end, of course, a limited number of ends. It's all about who gets to 21 first, rather, in the game of singles. That's the B3, B4 vision impaired singles final here at these Summerset Nationals.
And I can quickly tell you that Gary Lawson had a win just in the next round over Damon Pearson of the Manawatu 2, 21-19. Keanu Darby has in fact defeated David Eads David Eads has defeated, sorry, it's the wrong one, Kevin Beasley 21-20. Keanu Darby defeated Hayden Frew, and at the bottom of the draw, Craig Tinker of Southland defeated Neil Fisher. And those games have been played at Glendowie. So Gary Lawson won this morning, and what a great bowl there from Kieran Wheeler.
Yeah, Steve Delaney unable to respond to that good first up bowl from Kieran Wheeler. He will try and add another one to the count here. So a very high quality final so far.
In the backhand, of course, moved the jack off that centre line.
He turned it back on that pretty quickly. I don't know if he's too happy. He's not going to find the worst home though.
It's not actually that bad, Brendan. It was just not far away from the centre line, only about a metre over, and certainly not what you'd call a real wayward bowl, as Delaney, as Brendan says, on that very smooth delivered backhand. One down, and he's brought that line in on the draw, trying to get down to this bowl of Kieran. Great attempt, going to rock the bowl.
Yeah, it's a fine attempt from Delaney. Unfortunate for him, he wasn't able to get rid of the shot bowl of Kieran Wheeler. I just needed a yard or two more of weight. I would have got rid of the Wheeler bowl, a few rotations, and sat there for shot.
And Kieran Wheeler now holding one, trailing 9-6. And this race to 21 just looks on that wide side, but it's coming back now towards the centre line. Is it going to get all the way back? Look at this. Is this going to get all the way in? It will, and sits right behind the jack.
Another bomb. Such a small little alleyway there for Wheeler to come through into. Steve Delaney and his directive decided, let's have a look at the head here.
There's not a big range of options unless he plays on the forehand and endeavours to come through, reaching that middle bowl in the triangle. Remembering, of course, though, that the Kieran Wheeler bowl is in fact a toucher.
So they've had a good little look at what the situation is.
Well, I think if from an attacking point of view, I think it's definitely on that forehand side playing to the. They'd have to play with weight to the triangle to try and get some movement of those bowls, because we have Steve Delaney has got a couple of bowls sitting behind the head. Otherwise, it's really just, one would think, the dead draw on the backhand, which looks as though. Depends. We'll see but a moment if the dead draw it on that backhand side.
Delaney had a good look at the situation. Now
endeavouring to play that shot that we spoke about, Brendan,
about where it's under the line.
Yeah, won't have the weight to hold up on that line.
As much so too. So it should be 2 to Kieran Wheeler here, and after completion of another end. Wheeler still has a bowl to play though, of course, so he could make it a third the way he's playing. Why not?
He certainly drew that last bowl just within a couple of centimetres of the jack.
And just continuing the high quality we have had so far. So Kieran Wheeler on the backhand.
I don't think it's going to come all the way back this time.
Yeah, asked a bit too much of that one, but having trailed the jack and then drawn within a couple of inches of it with his third, he's going to pick up a couple here. He's got to be happy with that. He gets the mat back. And we'll wait for confirmation from the umpire who's around the marker here. And I believe 2 lollipops go up for red. Kieran Wheeler. So 9-8 we are now in this race to 21. And we're being joined in the commentary position by someone who knows a lot more about this than we do. It's been a very high standard so far in this game.
It has. Yes, I've played both of these people, and yeah, very hard people to battle against. But it's a great, fantastic challenge, actually.
So talk us through it, because obviously we're just, from us watching and a lot of people watching home, they're thinking these players look better than most of the players playing in the Summerset Nationals at the moment.
The two bowlers out there are what we would call B4 players. Both of them have got fairly narrow but long distance vision.
Right.
I'm sort of classifying them all in one sort of group here. A B4 player has usually got tunnel vision.
Okay.
So everything around it is blurry, but they have that little bit of tunnel vision, like looking through a straw.
Wow.
And that's what these two guys have got. They're B4 players. And quite interesting, because Steve is with his father. We've had a few father-son combinations through this tournament. It's it's quite interesting. I'll run through the categories if you like.
Absolutely.
A B1 player is totally blind. B2 player has shadow vision.
Okay.
You can see shadows, a little bit of movement. And we're going to be watching the B1, B2 final shortly. B3 player, which is myself, you can see, well, I can't see very much at all really, but your peripheral vision can be down. You can see a little bit in front of you, which is very blurry. Or you're very limited with your vision, but you do have a bit more vision than being totally blind. And then we go up to the B4, who has the type of tunnel vision or that little bit sharper vision.
It's quite amazing that the standard we are seeing here. I don't know if this is the norm, but I'm very, very impressed by what we are seeing in front of us.
It is the norm, actually. Yeah. It's very tight. We can get some extremely tight ends. And a few of the bowlers are quite good at very weighted shots, run shots. They're just very accurate, some of them. But no, the sighted bowlers are very impressed with blind bowlers.
So these gentlemen here, the B4 players, so they play in normal competitions as well?
Yes.
And they play in the likes of the Nelson Inter Club or the whatever.
Yes.
It's great. So they can play. They obviously, and I've seen Steve Delaney's name around a bit in various events, and so that's fantastic. And the B3's the same. Most
of the bowlers, including B1 and B2s, will belong to clubs, sighted clubs,
and play
in sighted competition.
But of course, the B1 players would be more reliant on their assistant with
their directors.
Their
yes,
directors, yeah.
We B1, B2, B3 within the blind bowls rules needs a director with them.
Right.
It's safety off the green as well as on the green.
Yes.
B4 players don't have to have a director, but a lot of them choose to, again for safety reasons and just a bit of help on the green. But most of us players...
I don't know what help they need.
It's amazing what's getting whispered in your ears at the time.
Well, that's the thing. That's what I was saying. If you've got the option to have someone with you, you're always going to take it. As a coach, just as a bit of a sounding board.
Yes, well, a B1, B2, B3 won't see the far end. I can't see the far end when I'm bowling. So you need somebody there to give you the picture of where everything's ended up.
Yes.
You've got to sort of form your own... You've got to try and remember it too.
You would be in a position to be able to see, for example, standing on the mat, the visualised breaking point of where the bowler's likely to sort of break, or some idea?
I use a monocular, which, against my director's guidance sometimes, but I try to use that. It gives me a bit more of an impression of where things are going to finish up.
Okay.
But, you've got to have everything explained clearly, whether you're over, short. We use the clock system.
Oh, right, okay.
You're at 3 o'clock, a metre, 5 o'clock, 2 metres, 11 o'clock.
So you're going a lot by feel. And so
you go a lot by feel, and you've got to get that momentum or feel going. And obviously, if you get a good one, you've got to try and remember what you did last time.
Well, in the old days, the radio commentary, we used to use the clock as the definition of where the bowl was actually sitting in relation to the jack. And
Yes.
we always used the clock.
Yes, the jack's the centre of the clock, and
Yes.
you just use the clock system around it.
Yeah.
It's easy. Well,
Everyone can understand it, can't
they
they?
can,
Yeah.
as long as you know your left from your right and your 3 o'clock from your 9 o'clock.
That's right.
Yeah,
Which maybe more and more in modern days becoming harder. But
correct.
Or digital, yes.
Yeah, exactly. But traditionally,
Yeah.
shouldn't be an issue. I see you're wearing a Claudeland shirt, so
Claudeland's Hamilton.
so you're with Kieran Wheeler. You know Kieran quite well.
No, because he is from Dunedin.
Oh, right.
I'm Claudeland's Hamilton.
Oh, so the other Claudelands. I see. I just assumed Claudeland's Hamilton as well with her, but he's out
Yes.
Dunedin. We've
No,
been doing a
we-
disservice to Dunedin's Claudelands.
We've got two of us players and 3 directors from Hamilton,
Right.
from the Claudelands Bowling Club. I'll give them a plug.
Absolutely.
Yes, and we've got players from Tauranga. We came up from Hamilton, Tauranga Hamilton on Saturday.
Yeah.
And we've got the Tauranga players, Waikato players.
So someone's sitting at home now watching this right now, which it's a very, very high level that they're watching, and they were to say, well, I wouldn't mind giving this a go. You know, I'm visually impaired, or my brother or sister. So what do they do? What's the best way?
Okay.
Then?
If they can, we have a website. The New Zealand Blind Lawn Bowling Association has its own website, NZBLBA.sporty. Or no, so the other way around, sporty.nzblba. We have the website, and if they can get onto that, it's got all the contact details of the president, who's in Nelson, vice president, who's myself in Hamilton. I was immediate past president, now back as vice president, and a mixture of board members and so on. So if they can get on the website, and that gives you the phone numbers, email addresses, and make contact with us.
Or they can go to just go to the bowling club.
Go to
Is that-
bowling
you know,
club.
most of the we were talking before. The bowling clubs in our view, all the bowling clubs are sort of accustomed, and it's a normal thing, isn't it now?
Well, they are a lot
I
of
would
bowling
hope.
clubs. Yes,
Yeah.
a lot of the bowling clubs. In fact, 99% of them are quite accepting of blind bowlers, if you like, blind low vision, as we're called.
Yeah.
We have a disability. We're not incapable of.
Exactly right. Well, as we've seen here, it was actually another single for Steve Delaney while we've been talking. So 10-8 now. Steve Delaney leading Kieran Wheeler.
And I just noticed, Brendan, I think the board I just saw change as well in the Bruce Wakefield Linda Bennett match as well. I'm not sure on whose side of the board.
I'll quickly pop my head over the
Yes, very
window
interesting.
here. Currently got some people just in the way, so we'll check that a bit later. That's been here we go. We just popped up actually on our screen. So it is Bruce Wakefield, I think, leading 12-8 over Linda Bennett. That's in the disabled singles final on the rink alongside our one. We're on our broadcasting rink 7 here at Sunny Bray. Rink number 6. We have the disabled singles final. So what are the numbers like? Is it growing? Is it pretty steady, or what is it amongst the vision impaired and
I
blind
think
bowlers?
overall we're probably dropping a little bit.
Right.
But as far as these nationals are concerned, we're the highest we've been. So
Okay.
yeah, which is good. That's
Yep.
really good. But generally, a lot of people still perceive bowls as being old people's sport.
Yes.
And as we know, with the the younger
Yeah.
ones, Selena Smiths, and all those ones, the young people are coming through.
Well, and so, you're right, but one of the big moves now coming out this coming year, in fact, with Bowls New Zealand, is going to be a very active work within the secondary school area.
Yep.
Where we know that there are a number of students at various tertiary and colleges, etc., who do have some other disabilities. So as part of this program, that's also going to be, with the backing of Sport New Zealand, certainly going to be encouraged, and Bowls New Zealand is certainly going to be playing their role to try and encourage these players, or students, to because it's still great activity for them.
It is, and you've got to be fit to be able to play. Certainly these sort of competitions, because you're out there for 7 or 8 hours a day. You've got to be fit, but getting the young ones through, they can back off it for a while, especially the women if they have family, that sort of thing. But it's a sport you can come back to.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, certainly.
I didn't start till I retired, so.
Really? Oh. So we see this bowl now, Steve Delaney, who is leading by 10 to 8, and this is going to sit right in behind the jack on the centre line, and is definitely the shot with the sort of and I suppose, so that is Kieran Wheeler from the Claudelands Club in Dunedin. But
yeah, we might need to mention that a few times.
Yes. We've got a few brownie points.
Because your club's got a lot of plugs during the commentary for this one.
So, yeah, we've got a few brownie points to get back for the Dunedin people who...
It's the first time Kieran's played for the blind.
Is it?
Okay.
He only came up, last minute call, can you please fill in, we're a member short. So he got his sight certificate done, qualified, and him and his father, Colin, both came up.
And is that his father who's
directing him?
Directing
yes.
him on the head, is it?
Yes, and the same with Steve Delaney.
Yeah.
That's his father.
I saw them out and share a bit of an embrace before
Yes.
the Delaney's, which
Yes.
was pretty cool. So I thought maybe it must have been a dad.
And that's the second year for Steve.
Yeah.
Within the blind bowls.
Yeah.
So fantastic.
That's right, because we saw him actually last year down
Yes,
in
in Christchurch.
Papanui.
Yes.
We saw him.
Yes, I was down there.
It's great to see the standard very, very high. Certainly, Kevin and I are very impressed, and I hope everyone watching is very impressed as well. Because for those who have certainly just tried to play the game, it is not easy, but these gentlemen are making it look it, and they have a disability.
Well, they're certainly, you're correct, Brett, they're certainly showing that disability is no barrier of performing, is it? And being able to participate normally within your own club, which so many other sports you struggle to be able to do that, don't you?
Yes, well, we go home tomorrow back to Hamilton, and 2 of us are playing in the Claudelands.
With no respect for your land.
Get that right, please.
The Fours Championships at the weekend.
Right.
With 2 sighted players. So we just sort of mix straight back into the club routine, and it's good.
So Steve Delaney getting a pat on the back from his father because he's just drawn on this the 12th end, his first bowl.
And just
very adjacent to the jack.
correcting that score as well. He did pick up another single in the previous end, so 11-8 it is. And the disabled singles final, now Bruce Wakefield 12, leading Linda Bennett 9. So that's a very close contest as well, as this one is unfolding in front of us.
Yes, a long way to go yet.
Yes.
So all you people down in Nelson, the Stoke Bowling Club, Jimmy Pugh and Pete Hodgson and Brendan Hodgson, all of them who I know avid supporters of Steve Delaney and Amy McElroy. I hope you're enjoying watching this. Your
For me, please.
fellow Stoke Club member who's leading now 11-8 and holding the shot, and could be holding 2 any second here. It just runs towards the jack and gets a touch on the jack, moves it back, stays virtually on the centre line. Another very good bowl from the Nelson player.
And is continuing to impress us, Steve Delaney. Kieran Wheeler's had a number of very good moments as well. Is right in this contest. Don't think he liked that one though.
Well, I don't know about
But
that. He sits on the inside of this.
Yeah, a few times he has turned his back on it. It's worked out pretty well, and then is sitting on the previous Delaney bowl, Kieran Wheeler, and that will be shot.
Shot.
Yes, it's amazing. You think you've done a really bad one, and suddenly it's there. It's good.
So that very smooth backhand delivery of Steve Delaney on that, coming actually on the forehand, and this is a pretty good line. This bowl too hasn't got the weight to get all the way. It's still pushing its way up towards the jack. Have a look at this. Has it got there? Falls out. Very good bowl.
2 good bowls in a row by Steve Delaney. just been enough for a shot as well.
So on the back end, it's Kieran Wheeler from the Claudelands Cup in Dunedin. And that looks as it's going to be on the narrow line and ran into a short bowl, but won't make any difference. And of course, as we bring you these finals, we've also got around 3 greens in Auckland post-section play in the men's singles, where we know 2 rounds is which all completed, and the women's pairs have been played at Browns Bay, and at the completion of play tonight we'll have the semi-final of the women's pairs.
So how did you get on in section play? Did you make it through to post-section?
Yes,
You did?
yes, got through to the semis yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Yes, and a very, very close game against James Dunn and Joseph Kim.
Yeah.
They got us on the last end.
Oh,
A very good game. We were 1 down, holding 2 shots, and James JD just came in with his final shot. A beautiful shot. You can't take it away from somebody like that.
and they went on to win.
They went on to win.
Yeah.
Yes. So no, it was very good to go through to qualifying. I was very pleased with that.
Yeah.
We won't mention the singles.
Okay.
Well, you know, I'll give you some insurance here. There's a number of leading men's players who don't want to talk about singles either. Right? So, so don't feel bad about it.
No, I did not do at all well in the singles, but that's how it goes. We were playing on the carpet for part of the time and then
Right.
came out on the grass.
Okay.
Well, that can always be tricky, can't it?
Well, it can, but that's no excuse.
No.
Well, I can use it, but no, it's no excuse. I just didn't play well.
Yeah.
The greens out here, they look to be running well. This
I think they are.
yeah.
Yes.
Certainly, you know, it seems to have a good finish on it. And looks very pretty even draw on both hands.
It is. It appeared yesterday to be very, very wide on a couple of the
Right.
rinks, but today doesn't seem to be quite so wide.
So are we going to see, we watch this bowl of Kieran Wheeler's. This is going to be close as well as it sits in them. If it falls in, as it
Oh,
does,
it's going to be close,
it's
isn't it?
close.
Yeah, from our camera angle, it's always hard to tell exactly. They all look pretty close from our viewpoint. Both players looking over proceedings. There's over the head is Steve Delaney. Kieran Wheeler watching on. Well, they look like they've worked it out.
So Kieran Wheeler,
And he's got the mat.
He's got the mat.
So was it just 1 or was it 2? Good bowls from both players on that end again. There's 1.
one.
So 11-9. Steve Delaney now leading Kieran Wheeler in this tightly fought contests. The B3, B4 vision impaired singles final here at the Summerset Nationals. As was mentioned, both these players B4. So pretty much tunnel vision, both
Yes.
players you're saying?
Yes. Yes, they have. Well, yeah, to that degree, they can probably see. Steve often stands on the mat, and it looks as if he can see very clearly down the other end. It's probably not that clearly, but he gives you the impression of being able to see quite clearly down the other end, and that's the tunnel vision.
Yeah.
JD, James Dunn, has got very fine tunnel vision,
Okay.
and he can see a spot down the other end, but he can't see anything around it.
Wow.
So he can line himself up, and as long as he can see what he's aiming at, he draws into it.
Oh, it's
And
quite
of course,
amazing.
yeah, everybody's sight's different, so
Yeah.
it's a bit hard to define.
Why exactly?
clearly.
I can
Yeah.
imagine. Yeah, that must be one of the tricky things.
Well,
putting
it
everyone
is,
into
but
categories, which
yeah.
might be everyone's different, aren't they?
Yes, we have to be sight tested for these sort of
Yes.
competitions.
Yeah. As a reminder, we have 3 games to bring you tomorrow here on Sky Sport Next, as well as these Summerset Nationals reach their conclusion. It's been great to be here at the Sunny Bray Bowling Club, though. It's been coverage of both disabled and blind finals. You can see the score on the board just to the right hand of screen. 14-9 it is now. Bruce Wakefield of Burnside leading Linda Bennett of Te Awamutu. That's in the disabled singles final alongside this one, where there's just 2 shots between it. Steve Delaney out of the Stoke Club and Nelson. Kieran Wheeler out of Claudelands and Dunedin. Not Hamilton, which I mentioned several times in the first hour or so of the call.
Just as well I came along.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you hadn't been wearing your Claudelands shirt, I would never have asked either. Obviously, in the program, everyone's just listed as Claudelands Bowling Club. They don't.
We might get a reminder, Brendan, from a particular gentleman who we know from Dunedin, who was on the telling us we don't know where things are at.
Here we have some of the coverage of the B1, B2 final. So very much a different look to it. Obviously, these are the players who are either completely blind or almost completely. And there you see the director plays a lot bigger role.
Now, Ron, who is playing just at the moment there, he is a B2.
B2, okay.
So he will have a little vision.
Yes.
He's playing against David Monk, who is totally blind.
Right. Wow.
David has been world champion.
Oh, really?
Yes, he won the world title in Worthing in 2013, which I was part of the group, which was fantastic. I can't remember which team. I think it was Malaysia that he beat to get the world title.
Wow.
Great complex at Worthing, isn't it?
Oh, fantastic.
It is a great complex.
Yes,
it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, brilliant. Lovely just setting right round. The whole setting's nice.
Yeah, it is lovely. Well, so is Leamington on Spa, where, of course, the Commonwealth Games are going to be the base next year. But, yeah, Worthing's very, very nice down there. It's a lovely spot.
It is.
So when it comes to like the Commonwealth Games, how's the selection process work out then for, or qualification process?
The selectors are actually the New Zealand New Zealand selectors.
Right.
Whoever they are
Philip
at the
Scotland
time.
and
Peter Bellis yes. It goes through, you put your expression of interest in, it's a B1, B2 or B3.
Okay. For the Commonwealth Games.
For the Commonwealth Games. The last couple of Commonwealth Games that I've been involved in, fortunately, or lucky enough to be involved in, with David Stallard.
Yes, yes.
We were both B3 players.
Yeah.
It's got to be a mixed combination, male, female. Not sure whether they'll have it as a B3 and B2. So it could be a B2 male, B3 female, other way around, or whether they will still allow 2 B3s or 2 B2s. So it's that sort of combination.
And with the disabled, the likes of the Bruce Wakefield and them,
Mark Noble.
Mark Noble, it's a similar criteria, is it? Or
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, it's the New Zealand selectors who make the final decision on the team.
Because they're triples, wasn't it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, which is now changing to pairs now.
Yes, I understand.
Right,
yeah.
Okay. We've got beaten in Australia last end, isn't it?
Both
Commonwealth
times,
Games. Yeah, both games.
Yes, last end.
Gold Coast in 2018 and Glasgow in 2014.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, oh so close.
Fantastic play.
Yeah.
Yes, and of course, sadly, we lost Barry Winks.
Yeah, it was tragic, wasn't it?
It was
Winksy?
such a shame.
Yeah, bit of a legend.
Yeah, great guy. Great guy.
And I see the Manawatu Centre have very quickly have put some name in the Winksy. They played Wellington the other week, and it was named. It was in memorial of Winksy.
That is fantastic. No, he was a really neat guy.
Certainly was. In fact, he was going to be going to the Taranaki Open Fours. In fact, next week or 2 weeks' time. He was a pretty regular attender. In fact, at the Taranaki Open Fours.
No, very, very sad.
Great team, man.
Very much, very much a team player, which is what you need.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't matter where you are, you need to be a team player.
Yeah, he was certainly that.
Yes.
So, it's Steve Delaney just dropping by.
Just through, unfortunately. Very close to grabbing a piece of the jack, or even knocking it closer to his bowls, which are just right of the screen.
It's the jack level bowl that we're going to measure. There's the one jack level and one slightly jack low.
Yeah, so Kieran Wheeler's dad doing the honours. And it looks like it is the Delaney bowl. So one more to Steve Delaney. And he pulls 3 shots clear now, so 12-9 in this race to 21. I don't know how long you want to stay with us for, or you want to depart, whatever you want to do.
I can see this, I can't see it out there.
Okay, well, stay with us then.
I'll stay a little bit longer.
Yeah, is it more comfortable in here or more comfortable outside?
Well, it's warmer, well, I'm not sure actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Got all the fans blasting to try and keep the gear running, not overheating, as well as to make sure we don't overheat and expire.
So here's now Steve Delaney on the mat from the Stoke Club. It's interesting his delivery. He's one of those players that turns the bowl. You see, he turns the bowl over in his hand prior to delivery. You look at the bowl now, it's actually sitting sideways in the hand. Then he brings the hand up and gets that very smooth delivery.
Make sure the bias is on the right side.
Yeah, he checks that because he's got an uphand hold on the bowl before.
And that in B1 and B2 is a responsibility of the director.
Right.
I was going to
Make
say,
sure
that's a
that
very important
bias,
point,
yes.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Because some can feel the small
Yeah.
ring on one side,
Yeah.
but some can't, and it is the responsibility of the director. B3, I take up my own responsibility on that,
Yeah.
because my bowls are clear enough to see.
Okay.
B4 should not have any issues,
Yeah.
but again, it's director responsibility.
So here's the Kieran Wheeler, Claudin's club in Dunedin. This bowl's coming towards the centre line. It'll go by about a metre, but certainly really handy. The first bowler, Steve Delaney's, of course, went by a wee bit further than that.
Do you have enough directors? Is that an issue sometimes? Are you always looking for more help?
We are always
Yeah.
looking for directors. The problem you have is if a player comes along with somebody they know or can help them or something, it's brilliant. But if you get a player who's keen on playing, no director, or a director who's keen on helping and no player, and it does become a bit tricky, but we're always looking for helpers, always looking for directors. And we can give them some training of what they need to do.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science really for what we do.
Yeah.
So good response from Steve Delaney with that. His second bowl to see just comes up lower the jack. And equally, here's that response from Kieran Wheeler. Going to sit literally on the centre line, about a metre. But it's Delaney definitely holding one.
More good quality bowls though by both of these two. Wheeler was not far away, just a foot or two too much weight.
Head went down on that delivery. Obviously,
Yeah, it wasn't the same
no.
smoothness that we've seen previously. See if that makes it not
gonna
as
come up
consistent.
very short.
Yeah, well, shorter than
Yes.
his
He
previous bowls.
wasn't set on the mat, I don't think, on that one.
No, you saw the head come straight
Yes,
down at the
yeah.
point of delivery. And so on the backhand is Kieran Wheeler.
Follow this one down.
Well, this is on a fairly good line. How far is it going to come back to the centre line? Just going to finish in that nestle with those three other bowls. So perhaps he's maybe trying to work out, Brenton, how far do I have to move the jack?
Yeah, well, I think that must be it, because he didn't seem to... He was sort of urging that on, wasn't he?
Yeah, so I just wonder. And of course he's got
the final say.
He's got the last bowl.
Of course, Steve Delaney will try and change the situation. He delivers his first, looks much smoother that time, back to his usual self.
Certainly want to get another bowl, and he has. He's done, well, still short.
Yes, the angles are very hard to pick up, aren't they?
Yeah, when you've got the camera just end on, it's
Yes,
not like being over the head like we have in bowls 3-5.
Yes.
Yeah, which
yes, I certainly
makes us commentators look a lot smarter than we actually are.
Well, I think he's looking, Brendan, at 12-9, long way to go, obviously, but there is a good scoring chance here for Kieran Wheeler if he can capitalise, perhaps play that tight line down to the jack. He moves the jack 18 inches, 2 feet.
Yeah, it's a very precise shot though, isn't it?
Certainly is. It's a matter of it holding up under that narrow line to the jack. You certainly won't get the trail, one wouldn't think, coming outside that shorter blue bowl of Steve Delaney's. Just checking the bias.
Yeah, looked like he had a second check as well, just making sure. Looks like he's more just going for the draw, isn't he?
Looks like, and it's on a. Is it going to come back now? It has to move back now off the centre line. And
weight looks good.
It's close to it. It's close to it. Just going to pull up short.
If it falls in, might be the difference. It's not going to. Now, has that been enough for shot? Quickly. I think it might have been one more for Steve Delaney. Yes, he's got the mat and the jack. So, Steve Delaney. Extends his advantage. I think that was the one going up. So, 13-9 will be their confirmation. Marker going past the lollipop. So, Steve Delaney now with a 4-shot advantage. 13-9 in this race to 21. B3, B4 vision impaired singles final here at the Summerset Nationals at Sunnybrae Bowling Club on Auckland's North Shore.
And great to have with us here today as well. It's both the President and CEO of Bowls New Zealand, who have been here most of the day. Great to have them here.
And High Performance Manager Kaushik Patel has been here too.
Saw Kojak here earlier. Well, Kojak couldn't play as well as these guys.
Absolutely not. He thinks he can. He talks like he can.
But there's no way. Yeah.
I've never seen him play. So.
Well, you do know there's a Friday night competition at Bowls New Zealand.
I've heard about this.
And the best bowler at Bowls New Zealand, who is not the CEO, but the best bowler at Bowls New Zealand has not yet won one of the Friday night.
Yeah, I heard Alex Reid is yet to win.
Yet to win.
Yeah.
It hasn't yet got on the dais. Great opening bowl here from Steve Delaney. Look at this as it just inches up towards the jack. Just
beautiful shot.
Centimetres away.
Oh, it must give you a bit of faith, though, in the current Bowls New Zealand administration, that they are all here on a day like this, and that you guys aren't just an afterthought for the competition.
This is fantastic, being separated, if you like, from the main body. This is actually fantastic to have them come and just acknowledge the fact that we are here.
Yeah.
It does mean a lot to us. It's quite often you feel like we're the underdog, if you like, sitting in the background, but we're as important as the able-bodied players, and as you can see, can play as well as the able-bodied players. But it's good to have the Chiefs here, if you put it that way. And yes, it means a lot to us.
It's great. Yeah, there's Kaushik Patel.
There's Kaushik.
Oh, yes.
He's got the family out for an afternoon's adventure.
It's good to see his football club lost though today. He often gives everyone else grief about their clubs.
Yeah, he's quite vocal actually, isn't he, about that group. So, Kieran Wheeler just falling short. And Steve Delaney coming back to the centre line, but a good couple of metres short. Kieran Wheeler again now, trailing 39 in this race to 21.
And on the rink alongside Bruce Wakefield, I think, is up by 7 now, 18-11. It looked like red on the board there. So 3 away, Bruce Wakefield, from taking that disabled singles final. Of course, playing Linda Bennett, Te Awamutu, Wakefield of Burnside and Christchurch.
So Steve Delaney will certainly be endeavouring to get another bowl close to put the pressure back onto Kieran Wheeler, holding the shot. He's gone wide with this one, but holding one very good shot right on top of the jack.
Bit of a discussion between Steve Delaney and his dad on the back of the mat as they watch Kieran Wheeler with his third.
It's going to go by with weight. It's just the one.
I think Steve Delaney just asking the marker there, a bit of an indication about how far away from the jack his shot bowl was.
The one good thing I think with our bowls too, we play exactly to the same rules as the able-bodied. There's nothing special about our bowls.
Well, that's good.
We
isn't
stay
it?
with exactly the same rules.
Yeah, that's another beauty of the sport, really, isn't it? That,
It is.
you know, anyone, any shape and size, any disability
Yes.
can be playing anyone.
Can get out there and play.
Yeah, against those who are completely able-bodied or whatever it may be. So, yeah, very unique part of this game of bowls. One of the reasons why we all love it. As coming down to have a little inspection of the head is Kieran Wheeler. He sees for himself how close that Steve Delaney bowl is from the jack.
Well, it's just really, he's only got that draw. It's a second shot. Well, one I suppose could get the shot on the ditch hand. There's room to get to the jack. Certainly be difficult on the backhand to draw around the bowl for shot. There's more chance to draw inside the line to the jack.
Does he look to play with weight and hope for a bit of fortune?
Well, he's got a few seconds.
Yeah, he's got, I think he might even have 3 seconds. So, if he does get a decent contact, the jack may well move in the direction of where his bowls are. See what Kieran Wheeler has decided to do in just a few moments. He composes himself on the mat.
Going with
Here
weight, all
comes
right.
the weight. And he's going to miss the target, unfortunately. It just goes under the line. And
Good
that'll be-
attempt, though.
It was. I love the approach. Why not? You're one down. It's going to be very hard to beat that one with the draw. Let's try and get rid of it and maybe make a number of it myself. But it is going to be one more to Steve Delaney. So 14-9. Now, Steve Delaney edging closer to the 21 required in this singles final. B3, B4, vision impaired players. These players both B4 category.
There was no danger at all, Brendan, with him playing that drive weight to try and get.
No.
And so.
And the way, if he had got contact on the jack, most likely of the shot bowl, rather, the jack most likely would have gone back towards his bowls rather
Absolutely.
than to the side of Delaney. So, yeah, it was a good play. It's unfortunate for him. Couldn't quite execute.
I was just going. ask, with them setting up the centre line on the rink there, do they do these little markers, the little spots? See here, they've got them here. Is that normally done, is it?
No. We have the string going down the centre line.
Aha, right, okay.
And that's, a lot of us put the mat, of course, on the centre line, and a lot of us use the string as a guide as to where we're going to start from.
Just like the Australians do, because Australians play that string just about all the time.
Yes, they do, and they quite often have the marked out 3 metre squares.
Yes, they do.
Which is brilliant when you're playing over there. But a lot of our blind bowlers will use that centre line. They can feel it with their fingers along to get the feel of where they are and this sort of thing. Watching David Monk, he will line up to that centre line. He'll get down on his knees and you'll see him moving his hands along to see where the centre line is, and then he turns himself down to whichever way he wants to go. So these little things are important for us.
Of course, tomorrow morning we will be live on Sky Sport Next at 8:30 a.m. for the men's singles quarterfinals, one of the quarterfinals.
Well, we may have seen a conclusion in the disabled singles. Big round of applause out the window. Whether that was for Bruce Wakefield or not, it looks like it is over. And I gave you the score earlier being 18-11 to Bruce Wakefield. Looks like Bruce Wakefield has gone on to take the disabled singles title here at the Summerset Nationals. Big congratulations to the Burnside bowler. Real character around the scene is Bruce.
Had a bit to do with Bruce. Now I'll just put a plug in again if anybody's interested in getting involved in blind bowls. Just on the website, if you just go into New Zealand Blind Lawn Bowls, it has all the details of how to get in contact with Secretary, President or myself, Vice President.
Well, who knows? It just might work. We put a call out 2 days ago for some markers, and the people that actually contacted us were a couple from Hamilton, from your town, and drove up and marked yesterday in the men's singles.
Fantastic.
I'm not sure. I don't know who they were.
Yes.
So for all you people out there, if you're visually impaired and want to give bowls a go, there's plenty of opportunity.
Well, and this can only inspire people, can't it? And that's why it's great having this kind of coverage where people can go, I could do this.
Yes, and to be involved in a national, New Zealand national competition, this is fantastic. And just got to thank Bowls New Zealand and Summerset.
Well, thank you very much as well for coming in and joining us.
That's a pleasure, absolute pleasure.
Much needed expertise, made us sound and look a lot better.
We also got a geography lesson.
Well, that may have been the most important thing we learned.
Just get your Claudeland sorted out.
Otherwise, it could have been giving your club a national title, which you'd happily take, no doubt.
Yeah. We would. Maybe next year. Okay, well, thank you both.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. It's fantastic to have that expertise there. As we watch this B3, B4 vision impaired singles final. 2 B4 players, as we've learned. That tunnel vision.
Big bowl this, Brendan.
It's not far away. It's not far away at all. That could have potentially made it 3. And we'll see the count here. It's obviously a bit hard to tell from our camera angle. See what I might need a measure here perhaps. Looks like Steve Delaney's going to do the honours. A big thanks to Sue Curran for her expertise. the Vice President of New Zealand Blind Lawn Bowls Association. Great to have her join us in commentary out of the Claudelands Bowling Club in Hamilton, not the Claudelands Bowling Club in Dunedin, where Kieran Wheeler is from. I apologise for that error earlier in commentary. Steve Delaney for the measure. Certainly, from our viewpoint, yeah, we favour the Wheeler bowls, don't we? So there's one. That's two. And that should be it.
Yeah, that looks a bit wider out on the angle from the jack to the... And it is.
Two. So, Kieran Wheeler cuts that deficit to 3 shots now. 14-11 it is now. Steve Delaney leading Kieran Wheeler. After we played 16 ends now of this vision impaired B3, B4 category singles final. So you heard there from Sue Curran that both of these players in the B4 category with pretty much tunnel vision, obviously varying degrees of it.
But it is great, Brendan, talking to Sue, that the players are just part of the club. They play in the normal club events.
Well, they'd have to, wouldn't they? Because this wouldn't be enough.
Would
yeah.
it be, you know,
so, but it's great that, you know, clubs obviously, you know, make sure there's a home for them, and these players in particular have showed there's a reason why there's a home for them, because
absolutely
they'd probably be some of the better players at the club.
Certainly,
the way they're playing here.
These two gentlemen out here really would be on par with a normal, let's say, inter-club side in any club competition going around.
Well, these two wouldn't look that out of place.
Well, here we go. The touches straight away.
That men's singles match in the post section of the Summerset Nationals proper. So, absolutely. And no doubt if these two gentlemen weren't playing in this event, that's probably what they would have been playing in.
Absolutely.
The men's singles at the Summerset Nationals.
A toucher from Kieran Wheeler and on his comeback at 14-11, and has drawn in behind the jack a couple of feet. First bowler Steve Delaney was well short of the scoring area, so the chance here for Kieran Wheeler from the Claudelands Club in Dunedin to certainly put the pressure on the Stoke player, the Nelsonian. And he's going to sit out on that wider side and short.
Yes, not able to repeat his first bowl.
Both of these players, obviously, Brendan, and others as well, but these two players in particular that I've noticed, they've obviously had coaching, because you can see by their delivery, they don't just put the bowl in their hand, and you know, they have some process about what they
take their time on the mat. Absolutely.
And if you look at their delivery, regardless of sort of like where the bowl goes, but their delivery out of the hand is as good as what you would see from anywhere.
But unfortunately there, Delaney, he ran into that short wide bowl of Wheelers. Steve Delaney, who's was runner-up, Kevin, in the Peers earlier today against Pyador's James Dunn. 18-8 that was this morning. Second final of the day, looking to go back-to-back in the B3, B4 category singles.
So 2 shots to be held at this stage by Kieran Wheeler, trailing 14-11. So Steve Delaney's on a better line here, needs to get under his own bowl. It has the weight, it's the crunch on this, and it's going to fall short on weight.
A bit of a chance here for Kieran Wheeler to really put pressure on Steve Delaney's final bowl.
It's on the wider side, but it depends how wide. It's not going to come all the way back to the centre line from there. It'll run into the bowl, but won't make any difference.
Assume the umpire's gesturing that that's the second shot.
I would say so.
Yeah, so looks like Wheeler's holding 2. Delaney maybe thinking, let's just get a good second here.
Well, it's hard to get shot exact because it's moved off the centre line as well as the jack. And
Well, it's going to take a very, very good bowl to get shot, isn't it?
And you would think for these players, once the jack does move off the centre line, it might be a wee bit more difficult to get that because this bowl again is outside that centre line, and it may well just be, although it's come back a long way, it's pretty well played.
Just too much weight. So I think that has rolled too far, so it should be 2 more to Kieran Wheeler. And I believe that's just what's been agreed to. I think we'll see a couple of lollipops be put up. And there they go, 2 lollipops for Kieran Wheeler. So it's going to be 14-13 now. Back-to-back ends. Kieran Wheeler's picked up a couple. And just 1 shot between us in this contest. Steve Delaney and Kieran Wheeler, 14-13.
So just note here, Brendan, Stoke Bowls Club catch Steve Delaney in the B3, B4 national final live on Sky Sport Next. So they do those things well at Stoke. They certainly promote their own club members, that's for sure.
Oh, they're great for the game of bowls. The Stoke Club, there's no doubt about that. One of the leading clubs in the country. Not just with the players that are there, but the atmosphere, the club, and their role in the community. You only hear good things about the Stoke Club. I know you spent quite a lot of time there, Kevin. You speak very highly of it.
They're a great club. They've got some great organisers down there, and the club gets in behind it. They get in behind one another, and they also are not frightened to run some like good events with like the Stoke women's singles, Stoke's men pairs, although this year they got knocked around by the weather, but they certainly Nelson, to be fair, as a region, because then we've got the Nelson fours which are held, and there's a number of the top players of course in Nelson, and they certainly go out of their way to give them as much good bowls as possible. As we see, Kieran Wheeler has drawn a good bowl with his first, sitting literally jack level. Australian 14-13 now in this race to 21. So these guys have been playing literally all day, haven't they? So that, they're it's like there's no rest. They're into it.
Yeah, I think they had their final, obviously, Steve Delaney this morning in the pairs, and then they would have had their semi-final, each of them. And if you have joined in late, Kieran Wheeler beat James Dunn, who was the winner of the pairs, 21-10 in his semi-final. And Steve Delaney beat Don Stevens of Riccarton, 21-14 in his semi-final to get here. And this has been a very tight contest, and now exemplified by the fact there's only 1 shot between the two.
So Kieran Wheeler holding the shot and may in fact hold 2 in but a moment, and he does. He just sits underneath the Steve Delaney bowl, and Delaney now will follow that backhand side, follow up the Kieran Wheeler bowl, because he's got a couple of feet to draw the shot in.
Yeah, we'll look to find a slightly wider line than all the previous bowls have found, and certainly has found that. Now he just needs it to come back.
Just not going to quite come.
And that's the fine line, isn't it, on this rink? We've been broadcasting from this rink all day. We had our semi-final in the blind and the disabled singles, earlier as well. We noticed that if you're slightly under a certain line, it goes way under, like we've seen with all these bowls.
Disappears.
And if you go slightly over the perfect line, it just hangs out there.
It does, and you see this bowl, and that's another bowl. In fact, under the lines, there's only one bowl so far in this head that's gone on the other side of the line. But of course, as Brendan rightly said, to get it right back to the centre line, it is a fine line, and we can normally get a pretty good idea. Is it sort of a third of the way up the green? We can literally see whether it's going to be. And there's that cat here. He's happy.
Yeah, enjoying proceedings. Found a little shaded spot, I think, under one of our cameras. He's looking the wrong way for the bowls, though. And what a last bowl from Steve Delaney. As he's drawn the shot.
It looks like shot from.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think it's just the one. Yeah. Yeah, had the sign from Kieran Wheeler's father. Both directors are dads of the players, which is great to see.
15-13 now to Steve Delaney of the Stoke Club in Nelson over Kieran Wheeler of the Claudelands Club in Dunedin. Jack's been delivered, and the mat has actually been brought up quite a distance when I look down there. And we might see some questions asked here, Brendan.
Yeah, about the length.
The length, we'll just wait and see. Yeah, the pacing of the length. I think we might see the umpire called fairly quickly.
The umpire's the marker, so
oh, right.
He'll have a pretty good idea. He's going to do his own little foot measure first. Yeah, he's given up the jack. No need to measure. Steve Delaney thinks, yep, that's not long enough. And already you saw Kieran Wheeler pick up the mat, take it back. I don't want it there, thank you very much.
No, it was a straight. Well, it was the first time, in fact, we've really seen the mat moved up the green. But I see Kieran Wheeler, as you rightly said, been straight away. He's taken the mat back to the conventional 2 metre mark.
Well, I think there, Steve Delaney had decided, while I did get the shot on the previous end, Kieran Wheeler's probably outplayed me in recent ends.
He has.
So I thought, let's change it up. I do like that. Unfortunately for him, didn't give enough of a roll of the jack down the green, so he gave up the mat and the jack.
Now I see the marker when he straightens the jack up. He talks to the players. So I wonder, is he telling them sort of where it's sort of located? Or?
Yeah, must be.
Because when Sue was in here before, she was talking about the longer vision for these guys, wasn't it? So I just noticed then that he stood aside and then said something to. Yeah, the 3 marks there.
Yeah, so there it looks like there are metre markers, aren't there, or yard markers on the side. If you see the left of screen here, and so that's certainly what they must use. Say, look, it must be on the 26-yard mark or between the 25 and the 26.
Because that's what I was asking Sue as well before. Is you'll see the dots as well on that centre line, whether that's as well just an assistance for them. And Steve Delaney has opened up with an exceptionally good bowl. Right in behind the jack on that backhand side, coming up short on that centre, across the centre line, is Kieran Wheeler. Good opening bowl here from Steve Delaney.
So we're approaching the end of our coverage of this penultimate day of the Summerset National Singles and Pairs. But for the action that continues after our coverage, make sure you check out the Bowls New Zealand website for all results and also a report of today's action, both here at Sunny Bray and also across Browns Bay, where the women's pairs post-section play is happening, and also across a number of clubs throughout Auckland and North Harbour, where men's singles post-section is happening. So that's the place to go to, Bowls New Zealand's website. And if you follow Bowls New Zealand on Facebook, there'll be links on the Facebook page. And then, of course, we'll be back tomorrow with the final day of the Summerset Nationals from 8:30 at the Carlton Cornwall Club. We have a quarter-final of the men's singles, followed by the final of the women's pairs, and then the final event is the decider for the men's singles.
So Steve Delaney holding the shot in this end against Kieran Wheeler. Steve Delaney of Stoke and Nelson up against Kieran Wheeler of Claudelands and Needham in the B3, B4 visually impaired singles final. There's a good attempt here from Kieran Wheeler. This is a superb attempt and sits right alongside the jack.
Oh, it's a cracker. Absolute cracker from Kieran Wheeler. Needed to be good to beat the Steve Delaney bowl, and it was.
So Delaney on picking will change his hand and try and reach to the jack on the forehand.
Oh, we've brought you two thrilling matches today from Sunny Bray. First being the semi-final of the disabled singles, where we saw Linda Bennett come from 18-13 down to beat Kevin Asplin 21-18.
Kieran Wheeler holding one here.
And now we've got Kieran Wheeler, who is picking up another shot, and there's only a shot now separating these two. Steve Delaney leading Kieran Wheeler now 15-14 in the race to 21. So that's now 3 of the past 4 ends, which have been won by Kieran Wheeler. He's picked up 5 shots over those 4 ends as well.
We certainly didn't have very much room there, Brendan, to draw the shot. Wasn't much room at all, but drew within a couple of centimetres of the jack, did the Dunedin player. And again, we'll get a full day's playing with no weather interruption, and let's just hope that that continues for us tomorrow on finals day at Carlton, Cornwall. And we'll say, it will. We'll be like Dan from TV1 and just say it'll be
really?
okay. Yeah, it'll be okay. We'll be okay. We'll be inside.
Oh, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
We could not be dry, we will be.
Kieran Wheeler now. And he was a late replacement, as Sue Curran was telling us.
Yeah, well, incredible, wasn't it?
Just to the centre line.
Walk away as a national champion, be very happy with his late entry. You'll notice as well that his jack placement is not short. All the way back almost to the 2 metre mark.
It's certainly his preferred length. About a metre short of the jack. Delaney, no doubt, follow that bowl trying to get that metre. Looks on a pretty good line.
Yeah, it does. Just doesn't have the weight.
Looks on a pretty good line here.
It's going to beat the Wheeler bowl. Finish only a foot, really, short. It's a great bowl from Steve Delaney to open the end from his perspective.
And this too, this is a good line from this bowl here of Kieran Wheeler's as it comes towards the jack, will come back to the centre line, and it's not shot, it's gone behind the head, but certainly was on a great line to draw the shot.
15-14. Steve Delaney leading Kieran Wheeler after Wheeler picked up a single on the previous end. Very much up for grabs for either player here, this national title.
This is on a good line, this bowl here of Steve Delaney's, and sits bang on the centre line, just in behind the jack.
That's brilliant. Made the very slight adjustment with his weight and his line and absolutely nailed it.
So following the bowl up is Kieran Wheeler coming to have a look. And this is a fairly good bowl as well. Just going to hang out as it's slightly on that jack levels. Well, it was only the width because it's finished jack level.
Steve Delaney stepping off the mat after getting a bit of feedback from the marker, who's also the chief umpire here at Sunnybray.
Deep breath.
Bowling club located in Glenfield, right next to the North Shore Event Centre, for those who know Auckland sports stadiums.
Didn't look to have a lot of weight out of the hand. And that's as it's going to finish short on that centre line, but holding two very, very good shots is Steve Delaney.
Work for Kieran Wheeler to do, otherwise Delaney will move to within potentially just one end of back-to-back national titles.
So Kieran Wheeler from the Claudelands Club in Dunedin makes his way to the mat. He'll play on that forehand side. Trying to get up to where the two Delaney bowls are. It's on its way. Looks as though it's going to run under the centre line. Breaking towards the head now is going to be short. And runs under that centre line. Here's a great chance here for Steve Delaney to get 3 shots. He's played 2 superb draw bowls.
Steve Delaney, who won both the singles and pairs last year, beaten in the final of the pairs earlier today, looking to defend the singles title.
Has the
that's
weight?
got enough.
Hasn't got enough weight, I don't think.
Change the picture. So 2 more though to Steve Delaney. He will take a 17-14 lead. 17-14. Delaney leading Kieran Wheeler. So now potentially just one end away. If he can do what he opened the game with, pick up a 4.
It's following the trend of this morning's game at 17-14 in this particular game after 20 ends. And in the game this morning, it was 17-13 after 20 years.
That's uncanny. That is uncanny. And the player who was leading at that time did not win.
Correct. Correct.
Both have been real joy to bring you here on Sky Sport Next. You have enjoyed the coverage wherever you may be.
And you see Steve Delaney has shortened that jack length.
No surprise. He tried to do it last time and gave the jack away. Matt's not brought up as far as it was from him previously. But yeah, certainly that jack is much shorter.
That's a pretty good opener. A very good opener, in fact.
That's clearly why he likes that length.
Right in front of the jack.
There's a bit of a statement made there. Straight away the pressure on Kieran Wheeler. He knows he can't afford a bad end here. Bad end will give Steve Delaney back-to-back titles.
I can tell you that Mike Galloway has defeated Aidan Takarawa just in this last round. Look at that bowl from Kieran Wheeler, a toucher.
So Aidan Takarawa, another of the youngsters, along with Seamus Curtin, you mentioned earlier, out of the men's singles of the Summerset Nationals. Galloway, of course, an old foe of Takarawa's,
Sitting there,
3-5, formerly with the Royal Oak Rockets. Still plays out of the Royal Oak Club, but didn't play bowls 3-5 last season.
Jeremy Brosnan has defeated Gary Cotton. Look at this bowling. Still not the shot, but
this is great. Now, what does Kieran Wheeler do?
New Zealand selector Philip Skoglund has been defeated by Laurie Guy of Wellington, of the Victoria Club. And Timothy Hook has beaten Brian Wilson, who earlier, of course,
Beat Seamus Curtin.
Seamus Curtin. So on the wide side,
Not a bad bowl, though. It really isn't. It just looks bad compared to the other three. It's not a bad bowl at all from Kieran Wheeler. Slightly wide, but near perfect weight.
Sheldon Bagley Howley is a winner in this last round, as is Steve Liddington of the Waikato. So the results are starting to come through now as the numbers dwindle down in the men's singles.
So those players winning those matches must be through to round of 16 matches, which will be up next to find out final 8 for the quarterfinals to be played tomorrow morning at Carlton, Cornwall. We'll have the semi-finalists found in the women's pairs by the end of the day.
So Kieran Wheeler. Very tight head here.
He's given that too much, or maybe he's actually thinking of giving himself a bit of cover. I'm not too sure. I don't think that's going to be within the pegs.
So Steve Delaney, he will try and reach up on his backhand to the light blue bowl sitting just under the head. One turn on the bowl would actually be helpful for Steve Delaney, because the jack could also kick back, and he's got a bowl sitting in behind the head.
Chasing after this one is Delaney. Now just into a brisk walk, now urging it on.
This is a magnificent attempt.
Oh, great effort. Just needed another roll, really.
The roll would have been sitting just about inside the blue bowl.
Now Kieran Wheeler asking for a little bit of advice. I think he just asked, I am holding shot.
I'm not playing that bowl.
He won't bother playing it. I think a bit of a joke from Steve Delaney's dad to Kieran Wheeler, maybe saying, oh no, I think you have to play.
Yeah, you got to play it.
They're just having him on. But good to see that he's a good mood out on
1, 2,
the green.
5 bowls there within a metre,
Yeah.
and 4 of those within 18 inches of the jack.
Fantastic exhibition. It's just been really showing what these two men are capable of. So 17-15 now the score. Steve Delaney of the Stoke Club in Nelson leading Kieran Wheeler of Claudelands Bowling Club in Dunedin. Not the Hamilton Club, Dunedin.
Definitely Dunedin.
Apologies to all those from Claudelands Bowling Club in Dunedin. Should be very proud of Kieran Wheeler and some of the bowls he's produced, giving the defending champion Steve Delaney a real contest here.
Still on a pretty good line. This bowl is
It's another very good bowl.
Kieran Wheeler's as it breaks towards the jack, just going to drift over the centre line and sit.
Tell you what, they're getting better and better.
They are, half a metre.
And they started very well.
It's as good as this last hit, the way how they started this hit. And here's Steve Delaney from the Stoke Club following the bowl. And that Kieran Wheeler line is just going to drop under the centre line. Just need that another metre of weight.
Yeah, nearly perfect really with the line, wasn't it? It was just the weight. That's all that was missing.
So Kieran Wheeler certainly got this on just a slightly wider line, but now he's going to get the arc back to the centre line, and this is very good too. This particular bot going to come right to the centre line and sit literally right behind the jack.
Well, 2 great bowls from Kieran Wheeler, and now the defending champ needs to respond.
Big deep breath from.
Yeah, there wasn't there too.
Big deep. He's waiting, just sort of thinking about his delivery and process, getting his weight right. Was Delaney.
Don't question the weight again. Don't you? Yeah.
Right, Brenton. Hasn't got the weight.
Again, the line isn't bad. Green was pretty much well read, just didn't deliver it where he wanted it to as far as his weight was. Not enough of it.
So again we see Kieran Wheeler out on that wider side trying to get that arc towards the head, but won't have the weight this time, because it's making it harder though for Steve Delaney, because it's just cutting off some of that vision to that V into the head where we'll be trying to get to.
Steve Delaney. Thought he might have been winding up a bit there, and no, he just comes with the draw.
Well, he just looked out of the hand to that have a wee bit more weight, but is it going to get under this bowl if won't want to knock it clean?
Oh, that's 3.
That's 3 for sure.
Oh, comfortably. That rolled a lot further than I thought it was. Of course, the bowl was on its side. How would it be moved?
It was on a good line. So big chance here for Kieran Wheeler.
No, it really is. If he has another one, that's 4, and Steve Delaney will need a beat. Unfortunately, I don't think this is going to come back enough.
It falls in, but
even then, I don't know if that's enough. So, certainly holding 3, Wheeler. Delaney, last bowl of the end.
Big bowl here.
Needs to beat at least 1. Otherwise, he'll be.
This is a good line, Brendan. Is it under his own bowl, though?
We'll push it in like he did the previous one. No, not enough. So, it should be 3. So, Kieran Wheeler, who will take the lead. Steve Delaney's dad's already given the mat to Kieran Wheeler, and it looks pretty clear there. That's 3 shots, so 18-17 it is now.
First time in the match that we've seen Kieran Wheeler of the Claudelands Club in Dunedin hit the front, and he's now out to a 18-17 lead in this race to 21 at the Sunnybray Bowling Club here on the North Shore of Auckland, in the final of the Summerset National Singles for the B3, B4 impaired vision players. And of course, we just saw earlier in the disabled singles, Bruce Wakefield of the Burnside Club in Christchurch defeat Linda Bennett of Te Atamutu.
Yeah, Bruce Wakefield. Congratulations to him. Title won by Graham Skaloon last year. Skaloon losing in the quarterfinals this morning in fact, to Kevin Asplin, who was then beaten by Linda Bennett in a titanic semi-final contest. There's another good bowl by Kieran Wheeler.
I don't know whether he's been given because the last 4 ends, Brendan, he's played absolutely outstanding with 1 and 2 bowls, and he's been right on top of the jack and certainly put the pressure on Steve Delaney very early on in the head, as he's done here. Steve Delaney virtually got good weight here, literally jack level. But
any of the country's top men's singles bowlers would struggle to combat Kieran Wheeler the way he's playing at the moment, let alone a vision impaired player.
His last few ends, he's been absolutely outstanding. And it's interesting, except from one shot that's been played by Kieran Wheeler, they've all been actually draw bowls, haven't they? Completely.
Yes, absolutely.
And here, look, this is going to break into the head. How's the weight?
It's going to be short, but still not a bad bowl.
Right on the centre line again, isn't it?
And it's probably good enough for second shot.
Could well be there. So Steve Delaney, he's sort of got to get his mojo back and get the mat, get the shot.
That's the thing, though. He hasn't played badly, Steve
No,
Delaney.
he has not.
Kieran Wheeler has just taken it to another level in recent ends. Right, Steve Delaney's going to need to go to that level.
Well, he's
This
certainly
could be it.
trying
Has
here.
he got the weight?
He's trying here to get to the jack.
Oh,
he's trying
look
to
at
get
this.
to the jack.
Well, cometh the hour, cometh the man, and that is one hell of a bowl when it was needed. Steve Delaney has produced. The challenge was laid down by Kieran Wheeler with some fantastic bowls, and Steve Delaney says, yep, I can do that too.
It was a magnificent bowl.
It's been a great contest. Thrilled to call. I hope you have enjoyed it wherever you may be. It's the beauty of Sky Sport Next, of course, on YouTube. You can be anywhere around the world. You can be doing some work out in the backyard on your phone. You can have it on your laptop, on smart TV, your tablet, whatever it is.
Certainly multimedia platforms now, isn't it, Brendan?
Yeah, it's great for sports like bowls. We have this platform available to us.
Change of hand here from Steve Delaney after playing that superb draw bowl on the backhand, going to the forehand. Didn't want to touch any of the, especially the closest bowl of Kieran Wheeler's. Didn't want to touch that. Weight wasn't bad, actually. Just missed that line slightly on that forehand. Kieran Wheeler coming up to have a look to see what the story is ahead. 18-17 to Wheeler in the race to 21. It's a 3 which he just scored on that 22nd end. That's the he's got 2 threes. Got a 3 on the 4th end as well. So it's been a pretty low scoring encounter, and that's really because they've both changed the heads around, or it's
They both played well.
they both played well.
Very few ends have had a player not delivering, so there's been very few opportunities to get big numbers. Whereas just that first end, obviously there was a 4 picked up by Steve Delaney, but from that moment it's been very tight.
Kieran Wheeler's having a really good look at the head, deciding what shot he's going to play, what weight he's going to play.
His final bowl, of course, of this end, one to come from Steve Delaney. Kieran Wheeler, who did lead 14-17. Now up by 1, now 3 shots away from claiming the national title. This in the B3, B4 category, vision impaired players, singles final.
Trying to play up to his own blue bowl, or to the jack, and he's close here.
Oh, very unfortunate. I thought for a moment he was actually going to get Steve Delaney's shot bowl.
Missed that other blue bowl, Brendan. He was very, very close to getting either jack contact or the bowl. He was very, very close to getting the ideal result.
Yeah, and he executed that almost to perfection about what he wanted to play. Obviously, he took his time at the head. He had a quick look, well, not a quick look, quite a long look, and worked out what he could do. And he wasn't too far away from coming up with the absolutely perfect bowl to deny Steve Delaney. Now, Steve Delaney needs another crack at to take the lead back. Otherwise, we're all tied up on the 23rd
This is on a good line, Brendan. It's got the weight. Hasn't got the weight, though.
Oh, it's
Or
still
has it?
coming. Falls in. I don't think that's enough. Should just be the one. Mark it, waiting for the players to judge for themselves. Yeah,
All
looks
kicked
like
away.
it is simply one. No need to measure. So one more to Steve Delaney, and we all are tied up. 18 apiece now. Kieran Wheeler of Claudelands Bowling Club, Dunedin, and Steve Delaney of Stoke and Nelson. Cannot be separated. Played 23 ends now. And I don't know if he's given that enough, Steve Delaney. He's tried to play a short end. I think it is okay.
Looks to be.
The umpire looking
asking.
at it. Yeah, he seems to be happy. Don't think he's getting the measure. No, it's very, very actually handy having these
It's
yard
very handy.
markers on the side of the rink for them to work out to make sure it's the regulation length. Another good start from Steve Delaney.
Very good opening bowl, which is sitting jack level. Kieran Wheeler. How far is this going to come back? It's certainly. We won't mind if it's over the slightly over the head. It finishes with jack level.
Both of them absolutely nailed the weight. Right in line with the jack.
So Steve Delaney has got that slightly narrower line. You see it now coming towards the centre, and they finished literally right on the centre line in front of the jack. Well played by the Stoke player there.
And it's just a few centimetres narrower line, wasn't it? And that's all it took to bring it back to that centre line, right in front of the jack, as you said. Kieran Wheeler clapping his hand after that one, stepping it backwards. Still watching. Wasn't far away again. A promotion of his first.
Just on that slightly a bowl wider, literally, than they're asking. We've still got two shots. I think that would be that question. The answer to that is yes, I would say.
Yeah, certainly think that's the case.
Two well-drawn bowls from Steve Delaney, and that's on that similar line to where the previous two have been. As this now breaks towards their head, sits on his counter, slips through, comes in behind the head.
I think he's holding match now.
I think
he's
holding
the
game.
title. So his last two bowls from Kieran Wheeler, starting with this one, so important. As you said earlier, you want to try and draw one with your third bowl, not leave it up to the last. Looks on the wide side
On that
again.
wide side, certainly has had the weight each time, Brendan, isn't it? See the perfect weight again.
Yeah, the weight's not a problem. Look at all of these bowls weighted near perfectly.
Absolutely.
And Kieran Wheeler just hasn't quite had the line. Not far off. But Steve Delaney can really make it difficult now.
Well, if we go back to the very first end when Steve Delaney scored that 4, there's the big deep breath again. that's the sort of bowls we saw in that first end. Now, here, right now, where we're talking about game, set and match, possibly, he's repeated it, hasn't he?
He has. Can he add a fourth to the count here? Looking
that
to just
line.
emulate the previous bowls. I think this one's got more weight, though. Yeah, it certainly does. It's going to find its
He'll
way
be happy.
through a couple of Kieran Wheeler bowls. But if Wheeler plays with weight, that Delaney bowl is going to be quite a handy spot.
Well, it's only really been, as it's turned out, like literally a bowl wide, isn't it? It's not, and the weight's been perfect. So, Steve, Kieran Wheeler and his father having a chat down that far end.
Yeah, big discussion because this is a big bowl.
What shot
Steve
did I
Delaney
play?
is holding the national title in one hand. Kieran Wheeler needs to cut out at least one of the three that Delaney's holding. Otherwise, it is shake hands time.
This is surprising, Brendan, that he's electing to change his hand now with this last bowl. Does it mean he's endeavouring to play with weight to get up through there? Because big ass changing your hand. No, he's on the draw.
Playing with that reaching weight, but he's going to be well under the line, unfortunately. And that'll be it. It is shake hands time, and Steve Delaney is a back-to-back national champion in the B3, B4 singles here at the Sunnybray Bowling Club on Auckland's North Shore. For vision-impaired bowlers, he has beaten Kieran Wheeler 21-18 in the final. A very high-quality final. I'll leave Kevin Hickland to take the final thoughts, and I'll try and grab Steve Delaney for a chat. A national title, another for the Stoke Bowling Club.
Magnificent display here by Steve Delaney in this final of the B3, B4 visually impaired in this final of the Summerset National Bowls up against Kieran Wheeler of the Claudelands Club of Dunedin. And a big hug there I see from Dad and son, father and son, Delaney's. And we saw Steve Delaney on that last, as it turned out to be the last end, that being the 24th end, when he drew three shots, just only centimetres from the jack. And Kieran Wheeler endeavouring to try and run the ball through the head or run the jack through, just ran narrow on that backhand side of the ring and couldn't change it. But it was one of those games you saw a 4 on the very first end to Steve Delaney, and then we saw Kieran Wheeler just fight his way back, chip his way back into the game. And I can see that Steve Delaney is absolutely delighted with his back-to-back victories, who Brenton is going to talk to in but a moment. And remembering, of course, after 22 ends, it was Kieran Wheeler of the Claudelands Club who was in fact leading by 18-17. But then a 1 and a 3 from Delaney saw him get to the required 21. And I know that the Stoke Club in Nelson, they'll be delighted. They're a great follower of Steve Delaney, and they will be totally delighted with what's happened here this afternoon with Steve Delaney winning back-to-back singles here. And may I say, it's been a pleasure to watch these gentlemen play, and this morning watching Linda Bennett and Kevin Aspin play, because if you look at it, they don't have a disability. It's just different, and the quality of the bowls that we saw, especially that of this afternoon, was as good as you'd see anywhere. They were absolutely outstanding. Now, thanks to Sue Curran, the Vice President of the Blind Bowlers Association, who gave some input this afternoon as well. And we'll have Brendan van Nistelrooy with you in a second to talk to the winner, Steve Delaney, and I'll hand you over to Brendan van Nistelrooy.
All right, we're now with Steve Delaney, the men's singles champion for a second year in B3, B4. Congratulations. What a final that was.
It was pretty epic. I was nervous about Kieran. I've been watching him, keeping an eye on the new boys. I was a new boy, upset a few people. I didn't want to have that happen again. So yeah, it's great guys, him and Colin, great combo, and I look forward to playing them again in the future for sure. Yeah.
We mentioned it in commentary. Kieran just seemed to be on fire those last few ends. You must have been thought, yeah, it was going away from you. How did you get your composure back and deliver like you did on what was ultimately the final end?
Well, just got to take ownership of the mat and play your game, eh? That's the best advice my old man's ever given me, my director Colin, and just own it. So I just had to, just put it all together.
Both of you, with your dads out there, how special is it to do it with your dad?
It's pretty cool, man. Bowls has brought me and Dad closer together in the 3 years I've been playing than what we've done in the last 20. It's been quality time, and proud of him. And just bloody rap, man. I'm thirsty.
Well, you better get in the bar and have a drink then.
I better.
Well,
hey, thanks.
Congratulations once again, our champion in the B3, B4 category here at the Summerset Nationals at the Sunny Bay Bowling Club. A fantastic day we've had here. Earlier we had Bruce Wakefield win the disabled singles as well. We look forward to more of your company tomorrow, the final day of these Summerset National singles and pairs.